What's up guys, welcome back to another classic episode of Think Tank Thursday where we go over tons of concepts from beginner to advanced on how to manage your body, how to break through plateaus in parkour, how to manage your mind, overcome fears, how to properly treat yourself, how to properly look after your body and make sure it lasts you a long time. And I'm bringing my 12 years of parkour to help you massively progress in your parkour and jump over those hurdle steps that you may not know about and that I've had to go through that we can hopefully help you just skip right over and progress a lot faster. So today we're going to talk about how to properly set yourself up for a good session. So this is sort of an intermediate concept, something you want to start thinking about as you progress in parkour. You can definitely benefit from this if you're more advanced, and 100% you can benefit from this if you are a beginner. What we're going to talk about today is going to help you massively reduce the frustration you feel in some sessions and make sure that you progress consistently and quickly. We're going to go over a concept that I like to call building the special bar. Now this is something that I got from those old Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games, if you remember them, where you used to do a trick and you'd have to build up your special bar to get better and better at the moves that you're doing while you're skateboarding, right? Now, whilst this is obviously a game and it is just something that happens in that, it really applies in the real world as a concept for having a good session in parkour. So the special bar concept is basically just a way of understanding building your momentum throughout a session. So a lot of people, what they will do when they go to a session, and this is me included, this is something that I always used to do, would be I had something in my mind that I wanted to do, or I was just immediately drawn to quite a difficult challenge. Like I knew there was a really big jump that I wanted to do, a really big Kong Pre, a really big 180, whatever it was. Like that's the thing I was excited for in the session. If I didn't go out with it already in my mind, then I would find it, I would be drawn to it almost immediately, because you're quite easily just drawn to the things that are roughly your level. And especially when you're excited to go out and do parkour, I mean, it's hella exciting just to get out, and that excitement draws you to the things that you really want to do, the things that are more exciting to you. But the problem is that you can very, very easily psych yourself out early on because you are drawn to that excitement, but you're not prepared mentally and physically. You're not warmed up, you haven't done any parkour yet, you haven't structured your session so that you're ready for that move. So what happens is you go there, you look at this big jump, you're like, I can do that. But then you spend half an hour thinking about it, trying to do it, and you're kind of standing there looking at the gap. All of the negative things come into your mind, all of the reasons why you can't do it, and then you're there battling through it, and you're kind of like trying to do this move because you've just sort of seen it and that's what you want to go for, and you're like, well, this is what I'm doing now. And it's so easy to just get caught in the challenge before you've even done any kind of parkour. So it's really common to just do like a 5-minute warm-up, if that, kind of get your body ready, especially if you're younger and you can just go out and your body's like ready to rock straight away. You'll go to this big challenge sort of thinking about your parkour level as a consistent thing, where you're like, I'm at this level no matter what time of day, no matter where my body's at, no matter whether or not I've warmed up. You'll basically presume you're at your best level at all times. And then you'll go there and you'll wonder why you can't actually do this jump that you're pretty sure that you'd be able to do. Now, in the first place, it's probably already a challenge that you're gonna have to overcome. But you've set yourself up so that you absolutely cannot, you can't fathom doing it. But if you're trying to push yourself, but you haven't even taken the time to warm up yet and build some momentum, then you're immediately going to freak yourself out. You're immediately going to look at all the stuff that is wrong with that, and you're not going to feel ready to take the consequences and deal with the consequences because you haven't taken the time to build that special bar. So what do we want to do? So the first thing you want to be doing is obviously warming up, which means, getting yourself warm so you actually feel warm, and then moving through your different movement patterns, like squats and lunges, crawling along the floor, hanging in a cat leap, just everything that you might encounter when it comes to parkour. And I'll speak a bit more about movement patterns in a later video, but I have touched on them in some of the Parkour Journeys Tuesday vlogs, so you can definitely go check those out, and you'll see me talk about movement patterns over and over and over again. But so that's the first thing you want to do, is warm up your movement patterns, and you want to get that mind and body connection. So when you first go into parkour, you're generally feeling like, your mind's like, oh yeah, I want to do stuff, but your body's like not really connected to those thought processes. So you want to develop and warm up that mind-body connection where you can put your body in a certain place. After you've warmed up your movement patterns, after you've made sure that you can get full range of motion with your body, you want to make sure that you can that you want to warm up the mind and body connection by doing small jumps and doing little things that you know you can do, and just really getting into the space where you're connected with what you're doing rather than thinking about what you want to do, but your body's like, well, we're obviously not ready for that yet. So once you've warmed up, once you've moved through all your ranges of motion, and once you've gotten your mind-body connected, then you want to get used to the environment that you're in. So you're at your spot, you want to move around all of the spot, doing normal movements, nice easy vaults, and warming up your landings and your jumps so that you know you can land perfectly, so that you know that when you do a Kong vault, you're not going to be in a weird body position. When you do any kind of move that you know you can do, just move through all of your movement patterns, get creative, build like a small line, and just get it so that you're really comfortable in your environment. If you're in a space where you've got some drops, cross the gap in like an easy way, get used to the drops, stand on the edge, get to the point where you're comfortable with everything in the environment, so that there's no unknowns to your mind, there's no unknowns in the environment. Then finally, you just want to go and do something that is maybe one of like the harder moves that you can already do, or if you're in a new spot, just something that you're like, yeah, that's difficult, but I'm definitely going to check this off straight away. You've already warmed up your mind and body, you've already warmed up your ranges of motion, so your body is ready. You've crossed the environment, you know everything about where you are and you're familiar with it, there's no unknowns, so you can quickly bash out some good challenges that sort of are a medium to hard level that are challenging for you. So it feels like you're pushing your body, but it's not too much of a challenge for your mind. And once you've done that, you're pretty much at the point where you've completely built up your special bar. Your special bar's full, you're ready to go, and your momentum, you've built the momentum. Everything about your body and your mind is ready to move. And now's the time that you go and take on those bigger challenges, those big things that you really want to do, that maybe you saw at the start of the session or you had in mind that you wanted to go do. Because the thing is, if you go and stand up at a jump that is the biggest jump that you want to do, because you're not ready to move yet, your mind is going to freak out in a much more drastic way than it normally would. You think about maybe when you've got an injury, say you've got like a bit of an ankle thing, or you've got a bit of a knee problem, and you're looking at a jump, and you've kind of got that in the back of the mind that it's going to hurt, so it makes the jump that much more difficult. You know it's going to like cause some pain. This is essentially the same sort of mind process as when you haven't built up your special bar, because your body it doesn't know how it's going to feel when and if it doesn't quite make the jump. So a lot of being able to do a jump is knowing that you can fall safely, so that you can do the bounce off, you can land in a cat. If you're going for precision and you're not going to quite make it, you can easily bounce down into a cat leap, or you can take the height drop if absolutely necessary, or if you land particularly bad on your feet, it's not going to like shoot up through your body because it's not warm yet. But if you don't know those things, if you don't know where your body is at, if you haven't moved yet that day, if you're not aware of the environment and you don't know, there's a lot of unknown spaces because your mind hasn't been down there and checked and knows that it's safe, then you're going to make up a ton of stories in your mind, and your mind's going to really easily focus on the dangers rather than what it knows it can do. This is why it's so important to build up the special bar, because you can easily go to a session, not build up the special bar, jump straight into a challenge, spend an hour not doing the challenge, and then get really frustrated with yourself and your session. And all it would have taken for you to smash out that challenge really easily is to go and build up your momentum first, build up that special bar. This is why it's so important, because you don't want to waste your time and you don't want to get yourself frustrated. Parkour is supposed to be a really enjoyable activity, and it can be very enjoyable, but it can also be very frustrating if you're not following the correct sort of procedures, stuff that you can work out and find out for yourself that is a good way of managing your energy throughout a session. And building the special bar is an absolute key to having a good session. Definitely what I've found. So many times have I been to a session and it's just so easy to get caught up in that drive and excitement to go and do your biggest thing, but just do yourself a favor and take the time to get this special bar built up first. It takes some discipline, and especially if there are people around you who are already moving, say you've got out to a session late and you just want to join in because you want to join in with your friends and take part in the challenges. But just take the time to be disciplined, and I promise you're going to have a much better session. Personally, I'd recommend that you don't even go and look at a big jump until you've done this, until you've built up your special bar, until you're warm at the very least. Because what will happen is, say you've seen it and then you're like gonna go stand up there. Firstly, it'll be really, really hard to take yourself away from it in the first place to go and build up that special bar after. But even if you manage to do that, you're still gonna have your mind on it and you're gonna be thinking it through rather than paying attention to actually warming up and actually building the special bar and building that momentum. You're gonna be, it's the same reason why you don't open emails first thing in the morning. So because if you haven't heard about this, you haven't, but essentially it's a good idea to not open up an email first thing in the morning if you've got other work to do, because your mind's just gonna be on whatever task that email has put into your mind. So it's a distraction of your attention and it's really hard to pull yourself away from that. You want to focus on what you're doing at that time rather than projecting into the future and thinking of all these scenarios, because as we know, as soon as our mind is projecting into the future, it's very, very likely that it will come up with things for reasons for us not to do what we're after doing. So you just want to make sure that you're focusing on what you want to do at that time, which is building the momentum, getting that mind-body connection, and making sure you're warm and ready and comfortable in your environment. Don't distract your mind with stuff that is, because if you're thinking it over, when you think about something, it's never the reality of the situation, right? And the more you think in parkour, the worse that you act, because you've basically got one thought, which is exactly how you're gonna do it, and that's the one thought, and then you've got a billion other thoughts, especially if you've got an overactive mind, as to why you can't do it. And if you're not there physically in the environment showing yourself you can do it, then your mind is just gonna run wild, right? So this is what makes this principle so important, at least for what I've found. And if you're like, oh, I'm not sure that that's a thing, like just go out and try it. I absolutely promise you this is going to revolutionize your sessions. By the way, guys, if you're new here, please do consider subscribing. Every single Thursday we come at you with these Think Tank Thursdays, and it's got tons of information. If you're a beginner, intermediate or advanced, we're going to help you blast through everything with parkour and just really make that progress that you're after, and really introduce you into some concepts that you're probably not aware of, especially if you are a beginner or an intermediate. And then on Tuesdays, we always do a parkour vlog where we go around from town to town, meet new people, go to new places, find different ways of training and show you how we're overcoming our minds in the moment. Now, once you've built up the special bar, that's absolutely great. And you can go and you can smash out your challenges and you can go to, your biggest thing, and you'll be so much more ready, so much more prepared for what you're going to be doing. But the snag is, if you bail out of a movement too many times, then your special bar will decline, it will go down. The more that you run for a jump that you think you're going to do and you've promised yourself that you're going to do, and then back out, that special bar goes away, like pretty instantly. So it's super important to recognize where you've just hit a wall with a challenge and it's just depleting you of energy, and you basically need to rebuild that momentum. So I'm not saying don't stick at a challenge. I'm not saying like if you're pushing one out and you just can't quite get it, you obviously persist with that. But if you're at a point where you're just backing out and backing out and backing out, you're going to continually teach your mind that you just don't want to jump, you don't want to do that move, you don't want to cross that gap, all of these things, that you're too scared and your body won't do it. And you're going to teach yourself that that's what's up, that's what you're doing. So it's important that if that kind of thing happens, you want to go and build momentum elsewhere, somewhere else in the spot. But it's not like you have to go and warm up again, but you do want to go back to some intermediate challenges, build up some momentum, some stuff that's going to be easy for you to check off, and just build up that winner's effect, build up that consistent momentum. And once you've done this, you can go and attack the challenge again. But it's all about finding that sweet spot and getting into that flow so that you're really ready to do what it is you want to do. So that's it, guys. That's the special bar. That's building momentum. That is how you're going to set yourself up for a much better session. I really hope this advice helped. I hope this concept helps you in your training. I know for a fact that if you apply it, it will help. But thank you so much for joining me, and please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. Please leave me a comment asking any questions that you'd like me to cover in these Think Tank Thursdays. I shoot these at the start of the month, so your question will be backlogged and then we'll come around eventually. But please do leave me anything that you'd like to find out. Also, leave me a comment. Let me know what kind of people I'm talking to here. Like, if you are a beginner, let me know. If you're intermediate, advanced, let me know. I really want to find out who I'm talking to on this channel so that I can tailor the advice for you. So just, let me know. Give me some information. Let's have a comment, chat down below. I reply to every single person because well, it's important. I'm actually trying to help. I'm not trying to just make videos. I want to help you guys. So let's do that. Let's get a relationship going. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one, or I'll see you on Tuesday for the Tuesday vlogs. If not, we'll see you next week for Think Tank Thursday. Much love, guys. I'll see you next week.